What happened in this unassuming forest a couple of weeks ago is still hard to explain. It started with an innocent walk between this lovely couple. But that walk suddenly halted when they spotted this old abandoned car. It just sat there, covered in leaves and dirt. The couple eventually checked the vehicles inside, not knowing who it belonged to. But when they did, they were left speechless. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. The couple who found this mysterious car were Emma and Jack. They had just moved into town, and after settling into their new home, they decided to walk around the rural area surrounding their house. The couple chose this town because of the vibrant forests, but what they found inside this forest was not something anyone could have prepared them for. The walk started great. It was the beginning of autumn, and the trees were starting their red leaves everywhere. The forest path twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the woods. They chatted about their plans for the house and how they wanted to transform the old barn into a cozy guest space. "Wait, do you see that?" he asked, pointing through the trees. Emma squinted, trying to make out what Jack had spotted. And then she saw it. There, partially hidden beneath a blanket of leaves and vines, was an old, weathered car. The vibrant red paint was dulled with dirt and rust, its tires sunk halfway into the earth. It looked as though it had been abandoned for years, left to rot in the forest. "That's weird," Emma muttered, stepping closer to the car. "Why would someone leave a car here?" Jack followed, pulling out his phone to film his girlfriend as she approached their discovery. The car, a classic American muscle model from the 1960s, seemed oddly out of place in the middle of the forest. These vehicles were usually quite desired and were part of someone's private collection. So why was it abandoned like this in a firestorm? There was something eerie about the whole scene. Emma could feel it inside her body. This car was here for a reason, but why? "It has a story to tell," she said to her boyfriend, who zoomed in on her hand as it grabbed the door handle. Jack encouraged her, laughing as he held his phone up to record. "Come on, let's see what's inside. I dare you." She tried the handle, but it was locked tight. "Figures," she muttered. But Jack, ever the problem solver, looked around until he spotted a large rock. "Here, this might help," he said, handing it to Emma with a mischievous grin. With a reluctant nod, Emma lifted the rock and, with a swift motion, she smashed it against the window. The glass shattered, sending shards tumbling onto the seat and the forest floor outside the car. "Well, no turning back now," Jack joked, nudging Emma to go ahead and open the car door. She carefully reached through the broken window and unlocked the door from the inside. Emma pulled back a layer of leaves and debris from the front seat, revealing an old, weathered map lying crumpled on the dashboard. "Look at this," she whispered, handing it to Jack. The map seemed ancient, the paper yellowed and brittle with age. Jack unfolded it, squinting at the faded ink. "It's a map of the area," he said, tracing a path with his finger. "But these markings, they don't look like normal roads." Emma's curiosity was piqued. "What do you think they are?" she asked, leaning over his shoulder. Jack couldn't say, but a route, clearly placed down by a ballpoint pen, was still visible on the sheet of paper. Jack was eager to learn more about this map and what the route on it meant. But before he could delve further into the map's mystery, Emma spotted something in the back seat. There, nestled between the seats, was a small wooden box, its edges worn and smooth from years of handling. "Check this out," she said, reaching for it cautiously. As Emma lifted the box, she noticed it was surprisingly light. She also saw that it was closed off with a small, rusted padlock. Jack immediately shifted his focus from the map to the box. "This just keeps getting weirder and more interesting," he muttered. "We need to open this. There has to be something important inside." Emma looked at her boyfriend with a frowned brow. Why was Jack suddenly so eager to be rebellious? He wanted her to break into an unknown car and encouraged her to smash a window. Emma went along until this part, but now she wasn't sure that they should push their luck. Breaking in was already far beyond her comfort zone, but that clearly didn't faze her boyfriend, who was already searching for tools to break the padlock. As Jack peered inside the box, he frowned. "Just papers," he said, lifting a small stack of yellowed letters. Emma leaned in, her curiosity piqued. "What kind of papers?" Jack unfolded one. It appeared to be a handwritten letter of sorts. "It reads like a love letter," he said, scanning the page quickly. "And everyone is signed by the same name, Charles." "Charles?" Emma echoed, confused. "Who's Charles?" Jack shrugged, flipping through the pages. He had no clue, But these letters seemed important and old. Some of them dated back to the 60s, the same year era the car was from. Emma ran her fingers over the paper, feeling the worn edges. "Maybe Charles was the owner of this car," she said, "and maybe, just maybe, this map leads to Hemore, at least to some answers." Jack agreed, eyes proud of his girlfriend, who instantly reconnected with her adventurous side. With the map spread out between them, Jack traced the route once more. These markings along the path, they looked like specific points, like you are supposed to stop there, Jack said while pointing. Emma studied the map closer. The route seemed to cut through dense areas of the forest and then straight through town to eventually end up about 100 miles away from their new homestead. Jack and Emma's car was parked just a few miles away from the first stop on the map, so they might as well walk past that point and have a quick peek, right? Emma suddenly said, "I think we should follow it." She led the way, and Jack agreed. Emma and Jack approached the area, where the sound of rushing water filled the air. A strange wooden post stuck out of the ground. Jack brushed away the dirt to reveal the name. Charles. Emma instinctively dug beneath the post and unearthed a small metal box. Inside was an old photo of a smiling man, presumably Charles, leaning against the same red car they had recently discovered. They pocketed the photo and left for the next stop. As they drove toward the second location, Emma felt they were getting pulled into something deeper. Jack gripped the steering wheel tighter. They were both wondering what could have happened to Charles. The next stop was in Tona Weathered Garage, named Mason's Auto Repair. Inside, an elderly man greeted them. Jack asked about the red muscle car, hoping it was a familiar story. Recognition lit up the man's face. "You must be talking about Charles," he said. He explained he used to service the car regularly. It was Charles's pride and joy. But then Charles vanished without warning. "No note, no goodbye," he added with a sigh. The car meant everything to Charles, the man said. It was unlike him to abandon it, which made the whole situation feel even more mysterious. Jack showed the photo they'd found. The man, Tom, nodded. "That's him, taken just before he disappeared." With Tom's memories, Jack and Emma gained more context but still lacked closure. They thanked him and left for the final destination on the map. The last stop was about 100 miles away in a remote countryside. As they drove, the landscape grew emptier, with only rolling hills stretching ahead. "What do you think we'll find?" Emma asked softly. Jack answered, "Answers. We have to." The route led them to an old farmhouse on the edge of a wide field. Though aged, it showed signs of recent Actividia car outside, smoke from the chimney. Jack parked. They approached cautiously. The front door creaked as it opened, revealing a quiet, tidy interior. Someone was definitely living there. They stepped inside. "Hello? Is anyone here?" Emma called. A voice responded, "Who's there?" From a back room, an older man emerged. Jack and Emma froze. He was the same man from the photograph, just older. "Charles?" Emma asked, her voice shaking. The man nodded slowly, his expression unreadable. "You found me," Charles said, his eyes landing on the map in Emma's hand. He motioned for them to sit. Charles began filling in the blanks, correctly assuming they'd already visited the garage in town. "Then I suppose you want to know why I disappeared," he said. Jack and Emma nodded. "We found your car," Jack said, "in the forest." Charles chuckled softly, but without joy. "That old thing. It's been a long time." Emma leaned forward. "Why did you leave it? Why vanish without a word?" Charles sat down, a faint, tired smile on his face. "It wasn't easy, leaving everything. That car, my friends, my family, they meant the world to me. But sometimes life shifts, and suddenly you no longer fit the person you used to be." He stared out the window before continuing. "My wife, Mary, passed suddenly. It broke something inside me. I tried to stay, to pretend. But every time I saw that car, I saw her. The memories were overwhelming." Jack and Emma exchanged a look as Charles continued. "Eventually, I couldn't take it. I drove with no destination, no plan, just needing to escape. I found this place at the end of the road. For the first time in a long while, I could breathe." Emma asked gently, "Why leave the car in the woods?" "It was my final goodbye, my last tie to that life. I thought if I left it behind, I could move on. But deep down, I knew someone might find it. Maybe I was hoping for that. Maybe I hoped one day I'd be ready to be found." Jack leaned forward. "But why cut off your friends? Tom misses you. He spoke about you like a brother." Charles's expression softened. "Tom was like family, but after Mary, I didn't want anyone to see how broken I was." "I thought disappearing was the kindest thing I could do," he admitted. Emma responded softly, "You've grieved long enough. The people who love you still care. Maybe it's time to let them in again." Jack added, "We can take you to see Tom. Just a visit. You've been out here long enough." Charles looked between them, visibly moved. After a long silence, he nodded. "Maybe it is time. I've spent too long hiding, thinking I was protecting myself. But all I did was shut out those who cared." Jack smiled. "It's not too late. Tom will understand." With some gentle encouragement, Charles agreed to return with them. During the drive back to town, Charles was quiet, lost in thought. Emma noticed the nervous anticipation in his expression, but she knew this was the right step. When they reached the garage, Tom was outside. His eyes widened the moment he saw Charles. "Charles? Is that really you?" Charles stepped out slowly. "It's me, Tom. I'm sorry I disappeared." Tom crossed the distance quickly and embraced him. "You don't have to explain. I'm just glad you're here." The reunion was quiet and emotional, full of forgiveness. As the evening wore on, more familiar faces arrived, greeting Charles warmly. Jack and Emma watched from a distance, knowing they'd helped reopen a door long closed. Later, over coffee, Charles looked at them with gratitude. "Thank you for finding me and reminding me I didn't have to stay lost." Emma gently squeezed his hand. "Sometimes all it takes is a little push." And though Jack and Emma had only just moved to town, they already had a story to tell they'd never forget.